Listen closely, because this moment is not an accident. You did not stumble here by chance. Right now, you are standing at the threshold of something sacred, something most people will never witness in their lifetime. A divine voice is reaching out saying, "I am pleading with you, don't turn away." You have been chosen, called by name, and this moment has been prepared for you. In just 2 minutes, a shift will begin, not by luck, not by human effort, but by the hand of God Himself. If your heart is trembling as you hear these words, that is not fear, it is the movement of His Spirit. You are on holy ground, and heaven itself is leaning close to see how you will respond. C.S. Lewis once wrote in The Problem of Pain, "God whispers to us in our pleasures, speaks in our conscience, but shouts in our pains. It is His megaphone to rouse a deaf world." Perhaps all the struggles, the silent tears, the restless nights were not signs of abandonment, but God's way of calling you here to this very moment where His voice could no longer be ignored. So don't rush past this. Don't scroll away and miss what has been waiting for you since the beginning. If you can feel even the faintest stirring inside, acknowledge it now. Write Amen in the comments as your declaration of faith, a sign that you are ready to receive what heaven is about to release. There were moments in your life when you felt something stir within you, but you could never quite explain it. The sudden chills down your spine when you were alone, the heaviness pressing on your chest late at night, or the weight in your spirit that no one else could see. Those were not coincidences, nor were they random emotions. They were signs, gentle nudges, quiet whispers. They were God's way of calling your name in a language deeper than words. You may have mistaken them for passing feelings, but in truth, they were holy echoes, reminders that heaven had already set its eyes upon you. Every tear that fell in silence was noticed. Every prayer you whispered into the darkness, unsure if anyone was listening, was heard. You thought the silence meant God had turned away, but silence is not absence. Silence was preparation. Silence was the proving ground of faith, the space where your heart was being trained to wait, to endure, to trust. The moments you thought you were forgotten were the very moments you were being marked as chosen. Consider the story of Daniel, who fasted and prayed for 21 days. From the very first moment his heart sought God, the answer had already been released, but unseen battles in the heavens delayed its arrival. In the same way, what you felt as abandonment was not God ignoring you, but a reflection of warfare beyond your sight. The heavens were moving, angels were fighting, the enemy was resisting, but your name was already known. Your request had already reached His throne. From the first day that you set your heart to understand and humbled yourself before your God, your words have been heard, and I have come because of your words. Daniel 10:12. The weight you carried, the restlessness you endured, the ache in your heart that no one else understood, those were not wasted experiences. They were reminders that your spirit was being awakened. Every season of loneliness, every storm you weathered in secret, every time you smiled outwardly while breaking inside, these were the very markers that God's Spirit was near. He has been closer to you than your own breath, walking beside you even when you felt most abandoned. You see, the signs were always there. The friend who suddenly appeared with encouragement when you were ready to give up, the moment of clarity that came just as you were about to make a wrong decision, the unexplainable peace that held you in place when everything around you was chaos. All of these were holy interruptions. God has been weaving His presence into your story in ways you did not recognize, protecting you from dangers you never even knew existed. The truth is, He has been pursuing you across the years, through the darkest valleys and the brightest mornings, through your doubts and through your faith. When your lips trembled with prayers that seemed too small, He was listening. When you wondered and questioned whether He still cared, His eyes never left you. The weight of His love has been pressing in on your life, not to crush you, but to remind you that you are not forgotten. And perhaps now, as you look back, you can begin to see it more clearly. The patterns, the divine fingerprints left upon the chapters of your past, that sudden turn that spared you from disaster, that unexpected no that later became a greater yes, that unanswered prayer that, in time, revealed itself as protection, not rejection. He has been there all along. The signs were not just random fragments of your story, they were pieces of a larger design. A design that has been pulling you toward this very moment. Because now is the time when God's whispers become unmistakable. Now is the time when his call is no longer subtle but clear, no longer hidden but revealed. You were chosen long before you realized it, and the evidence has been written across your life like an invisible script, waiting for the right moment to be read aloud. This is that moment. The heart of God has never been distant from you. Every step, every breath, every hidden battle has been leading you toward this point in your journey, the place where his promise breaks through the shadows of your past and shines with undeniable clarity. What you thought was gone forever will be restored. What you thought was incurable will be healed. What you thought was over will be resurrected. The voice of heaven declares that nothing is too broken, nothing is too far, and nothing is too late for the hand of the Almighty. The miracle that is promised to you is not something random or generic. It is personal. It has been carved with your name on it since before you were born. It is the fulfillment of prayers you whispered, and even the ones you forgot. It is the answer to needs you could not fully describe. The power that spoke creation into existence is the same power now speaking life into your situation. Behold, I am making all things new. Revelation 21:5. These words are not empty. They are seeds of renewal planted in the soil of your life, ready to bloom in a season you never thought possible. This promise is not built on your perfection or your strength. It is not dependent on whether you did everything right or avoided every failure. It flows from his covenant, his love, his unshakable word. Long before you faced the storms, he already set aside the provision. Long before you carried the weight of loss, he prepared the restoration. And long before your heart cried out in pain, he had already marked the day of your healing. You may have felt as though your prayers hit the ceiling and fell back unanswered. But the truth is that every word you spoke was caught, recorded, and treasured. Every tear watered the soil of the very miracle that is now breaking forth. What looked like wasted seasons were actually preparation, tilling the ground so that the roots of your faith could hold the weight of what is coming. This promise is not fragile. It cannot be stolen by the voices that doubted you. It cannot be cancelled by the mistakes that haunt you, and it cannot be undone by the opposition that has tried to crush you. What God has declared over your life stands firm, immovable, and eternal. Just as the sun rises faithfully each morning, his word rises over your life, unstoppable and certain. There will be a shift, and it will not be subtle. The heaviness that has lingered will lift. The doors that have remained locked will open. The silence that has weighed on you will break into clarity. You may not see it with your natural eyes yet, but in the unseen realm it has already begun. Angels have been released, chains have been broken, and the very atmosphere around you has started to change. The miracle is not simply about fixing what was broken. It is about revealing the depth of his power in a way you have never known before. This is why the waiting felt so long. This is why the battles felt so intense. Because the weight of this promise is greater than anything you have carried before. The miracle will not only restore you, but it will also transform you. It will change the way you see God, the way you see yourself, and the way you see the world around you. You will come to know him not only as a provider, but as a healer, not only as a comforter, but as a restorer, not only as a guide, but as the one who brings dead things back to life. The miracle promised to you is evidence of his covenant, his everlasting love, and his power that knows no limit. And when it arrives, it will not be a small flicker of hope, but a blazing light that silences every lie spoken over your name. It will testify louder than your pain, louder than your past, and louder than every voice that told you it would never happen. The miracle will be undeniable, and it will stand as a witness that what God begins, he also finishes. There are moments when the weight of your past tries to define you, when mistakes echo louder than hope, and when shame clings to you like a shadow you cannot shake off. You have carried the thought that perhaps you missed your chance, that perhaps God turned his face away because of what you did or failed to do. But hear this clearly. His love is not fragile, nor does his mercy run out. The very places you thought disqualified you are the places where his grace now flows the deepest. You may remember every failure, every wrong turn, every season when doubt overcame your faith. You may even believe that those choices have permanently scarred your destiny. Yet the heart of God speaks differently. His voice cuts through the condemnation, declaring that you are not defined by what you have done but by what he has already done for you. His love is not conditional. It is not based on performance, reputation, or record. It is based on his eternal covenant, sealed before you ever took your first breath. Scripture reminds us, "There is therefore now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus." Romans 8:1. Those words are not mere comfort, they are a decree from heaven. They announce that shame has no authority over you, guilt has no claim upon you, and your past no longer has the right to dictate your future. The slate has been wiped clean, and the handwriting of grace covers every line where sin once tried to write your story. You are not walking under punishment, you are walking under promise. The enemy has whispered that you lost your chance, that you are too far gone, too flawed, too stained. But those whispers collapse under the weight of truth. His mercy is new every morning. His love reaches beyond the edges of your failure. His hand has never withdrawn, even when yours let go. What felt like rejection was protection. What felt like punishment was redirection. What looked like the end was only the stage being set for restoration. Do not believe that your wounds disqualify you. In the eyes of God, they make you the vessel of his glory. Your scars are not marks of shame, but testimonies of survival, proof that his hand carried you even when you could not carry yourself. Every broken piece is being gathered, not to discard, but to rebuild. Every regret is being rewritten as part of a greater redemption. God is not angry with you. He is not counting the list of your mistakes. He is not withholding blessing because of your flaws. His love is larger than your failures, stronger than your guilt, deeper than your grief. He saw the worst of you and still chose you. He knew your weaknesses and still placed his calling on your life. He anticipated your doubts and still wrote your name in his book of life. You are not abandoned. You are embraced. You are not a disappointment. You are a delight in his eyes. You are not forgotten. You are engraved on the palms of his hands. Every lie of shame that has chained you is being broken. Every label the world placed on you is being stripped away. Where others said you are unworthy, he declares you beloved. Where others saw failure, he calls you chosen. This is not a love that shifts with your moods or diminishes with your mistakes. It is a love that has pursued you through every season, a love that stood in the fire with you, a love that carried the cross for you, and a love that has no end. The miracle that is unfolding is not coming because you earned it. It is coming because he loves you, and his love never fails. The heaviness you have carried, the relentless storms you have endured, the battles that seemed unending, none of these were accidents. They were not proof that God had abandoned you, but signs that the enemy recognized what was about to be released in your life. Every wave of opposition, every sudden loss, every unexpected delay has been part of a larger, unseen conflict. You were not simply struggling with circumstances. You were standing in the middle of spiritual warfare. The enemy is not threatened by your past. He is terrified of your future. He does not fear where you have been, but he fears what you are becoming. He has seen glimpses of the anointing upon your life, and he knows the impact of your obedience. That is why the pressure has been so great. That is why the attacks intensified just when you began to hope again. Hell does not waste its weapons on those who are insignificant. The battle around you has been the clearest evidence that heaven has marked you for something greater. Think of the words in Ephesians 6:12. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the cosmic powers over this present darkness, against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly places. What you thought was simply rejection, betrayal, or delay was in reality the clash of unseen forces. While you questioned why life seemed so hard, there were wars being fought in realms your eyes could not see. Angels were dispatched. Demons resisted. But all along, the word of the Lord over your life remained unshaken. This is why prayers felt delayed, why breakthroughs seemed so far away. The opposition was not about denying you, but about trying to exhaust you, to make you quit before the appointed time. The enemy hoped you would give up, walk away, and surrender the promise that had your name written upon it. But even in your weariness, you did not let go. Even in your doubts, you whispered God's name. Even in your darkest nights, you held on with trembling hands. And that endurance has become the very proof that you are chosen. Every season of affliction has been shaping you, not to destroy but to prepare. Trials have deepened your faith, sharpened your discernment, and purified your motives. Where others would have broken, you bent but did not snap. Where others would have cursed God, you still sought him, even in silence. And that is why the attacks failed. What the enemy meant for evil, God is turning into good. The pressure was real, but so is the promise. You may not realize it yet, but the warfare has already been shifting. Chains that once held you are breaking. Delays that seemed endless are coming to an end. The very areas of your life where you were attacked the hardest will soon become the areas of your greatest testimony. The pain you endured is becoming the soil of your miracle. The opposition that tried to bury you has only proved how unstoppable the hand of God truly is. This is why the season felt unbearable, because the enemy knew that on the other side of your endurance was a release of glory he could not stop. He struck your mind with confusion, but your spirit still clung to hope. He tried to isolate you, but heaven never left your side. He tried to silence your voice, but your prayers continued to rise. And now, the warfare that once seemed endless is giving way to breakthrough. You are stepping into a moment where what was delayed will be delivered, where what was resisted will be released, and where what was hidden will be revealed. The battles you fought in secret will soon give way to victories seen openly. The trial was never meant to crush you, it was meant to confirm you. You are stronger now, not because of your own might, but because his Spirit has sustained you through fire that should have consumed you. So do not despise the trial. Do not believe the lie that it was wasted. Every battle, every tear, every unanswered question was part of a holy preparation. The warfare was heavy, because the calling is weighty. The attacks were fierce because the blessing is greater. And the reason the enemy fought so hard is the same reason you will rise so high. You were chosen, and nothing in heaven or hell can cancel what God has declared over your life. There comes a moment in every story when the page turns, when what once felt endless suddenly shifts, and what was hidden begins to unfold. You are standing in that moment now. The long night is giving way to dawn, the silence to a song, the waiting to fulfillment. What you thought would never change is already changing. The winds are shifting, and heaven's breath is moving in your direction. The delays that wore you down were not denials, they were divine timing. What seemed like closed doors were not rejections but redirections, carefully orchestrated to protect you until the right time arrived. And now, the time has come. The old season has ended, and the new has begun. The weight you carried will no longer define you, for the burden is being lifted. The prayers you thought were buried in silence are breaking forth into answers. The promises long held in waiting are unfolding before your eyes. You will notice it in subtle ways at first. The heaviness that begins to lift, the peace that settles into your heart, the opportunities that appear without striving, the clarity that suddenly replaces confusion. But soon, it will not be subtle. The doors will open wide, the blessings will overflow, the very atmosphere around you will testify that heaven has moved. You are stepping into a protected season, a sacred appointment, where the hand of God covers you more closely than ever before. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? I will make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. Isaiah 40, 3-19. These words are not just ancient promises, they are alive right now. They are speaking over your life, declaring that the barren places will bloom again, that what felt dry and lifeless will flow with abundance. The wilderness was never meant to be your final destination. It was preparation for the rivers about to break open in front of you. This new season is not about survival, it is about flourishing. You will not just endure, you will expand. You will not just recover, you will rebuild stronger than before. The setbacks you endured were seeds of a greater harvest. What you lost will return, not in the same measure, but multiplied. The very ground where you wept will become the ground where you rejoice. The same places that carried the weight of your sorrow will carry the fragrance of your testimony. Do not be surprised if people from your old season cannot recognize you in this new one. Some were never meant to walk into this chapter with you. Their departure was painful, but it was necessary. What God is birthing in this season cannot be mishandled, cannot be diminished by doubt, and cannot be weighed down by voices that do not see what He has spoken over you. You are not losing, you are being elevated. You are not abandoned, you are being set apart. In this new season, you will walk with a renewed confidence, not in yourself, but in the one who has carried you here. You will no longer feel the need to strive for recognition, for His favor will speak louder than any introduction. You will no longer chase what is already appointed, for what belongs to you will find you. Divine alignment will meet you, doors will open without force, and provision will flow where once there was lack. The wilderness tested you, but it also taught you. It stripped away illusions and revealed what truly sustains. It burned away the unnecessary and refined the essential. Now, that refining becomes your strength, and the wisdom born from the fire becomes your foundation. You are stepping onto solid ground, no longer fragile under the weight of uncertainty, but steady under the hand of God. This new season is not fragile, it is fortified. It is not temporary, it is foundational. The storms of the past may have shaken you, but they did not destroy you, and now you are stronger than you have ever been. The roots of your faith run deeper, the vision in your spirit is clearer, and the oil upon your life is richer. This is not just a new chapter, it is a new book, a holy beginning marked by grace, favor, and purpose. So breathe deeply, lift your eyes. The horizon is no longer dark, but glowing with promise. What you sense stirring within you is real. The season of endless waiting has ended. The new season has begun, and nothing can stop what God has already set in motion. The work God is doing in you is not meant to stop with you. His hand is not only upon your life, but upon your family, your household, and the generations that will follow. The transformation you are stepping into reaches beyond your present struggles. It stretches into the very fabric of your bloodline. What once felt like cycles that could never be broken, patterns of fear, lack, sickness, or sorrow, are being severed by His authority. You are not simply receiving a blessing, you are becoming the turning point for those who will come after you. Many of the battles you fought were not even about you alone. They were battles meant to break what had chained your family for years. You carried burdens that began before you were born, inherited weights that whispered through generations. But now, in this holy moment, God is drawing a line. He is declaring that the pain and brokenness will not continue past you. The cycles of loss, the shadows of shame, the curses that once seemed inevitable, they end here. They end with you. But the steadfast love of the Lord is from everlasting to everlasting on those who fear Him, and His righteousness to children's children. Psalm 103-17. This is the promise that is unfolding. The faithfulness you are walking in now becomes a foundation for those yet to come. The prayers you whisper in private become seeds of protection for your children and your children's children. The obedience you hold fast to in this season becomes a covering over generations. As you are transformed, your house will be transformed. Peace will settle where there was once chaos. Healing will flow into places where sickness reigned. Unity will replace division, and hope will return to hearts that had grown weary. God is not only redeeming your story, He is rewriting the story of your family. The places where you once carried shame will become testimonies of His grace. The name that once carried scars will carry blessing. Do not underestimate the impact of what is happening in you right now. Heaven's movement in your spirit is a ripple that will grow into a wave. Children will walk in freedom because you chose to break the chains. Loved ones will discover faith because of the testimony born out of your endurance. Entire branches of your family tree will shift direction because God planted His promise in you. The transformation is not loud, but it is deep. It is not temporary, but eternal. As you step into healing, into restoration, into new life, the echoes of that transformation are already touching those connected to you. Relationships, long fractured, will begin to mend. Wounds passed down, like inheritance, will begin to heal. And the atmosphere of your home will no longer carry the residue of brokenness, but the fragrance of His presence. This is not only about restoring what was lost, but about establishing something greater than whatever was before. You are the doorway God has chosen to walk through into your bloodline. You are the vessel carrying His promise into a future that once seemed unreachable. And because of this, the enemy fought so hard he feared what would happen if you ever reached this moment. He knew that your breakthrough would not be yours alone, but would multiply into others. Now the tide has turned. You will see not only your own life renewed, but the lives of those around you touched in ways you cannot imagine. Your testimony will be the anchor for others, your faith, the spark that lights their path, your victory, the evidence that God still moves through families, through legacies, through generations. What begins with you will not end with you. It will outlast you, it will grow beyond you, and it will glorify Him long after your part of the story is finished. This is the holy inheritance He is writing into your family's name. Freedom where there was bondage, healing where there was sickness, blessing where there was scarcity, and love where there was abandonment. You are the chosen vessel of this generational shift, and heaven rejoices because the story is being rewritten. There comes a point when the words spoken over your life are no longer just promises to be heard, but invitations to be embraced. This is that point. The presence of God has not been moving only to comfort you, but to bring you into alignment with His will. The miracle is not given for you to simply observe, it is given for you to receive, to carry, and to live out. And to step fully into it requires something deeper than desire. It requires surrender. You cannot hold on to fear and still grasp the fullness of His promise. You cannot cling to shame and still walk in the freedom He is placing before you. The call now is not about perfection, not about striving, not about proving your worth. It is about opening your hands, unclenching your heart, and yielding control to the One who has already written the end of your story. He is not asking you to manufacture strength. He is asking you to trust His strength. Faith is not the absence of uncertainty. It is choosing to believe even when uncertainty remains. It is the willingness to step forward when you cannot see the ground beneath your feet, because you know who walks with you. For we walk by faith, not by sight. 2 Corinthians 5-7. These words are not theory. They are the very posture God is calling you into. He is asking you to trust His vision more than your own eyes, to trust His voice more than the noise around you, to trust His timing more than your own plans. The response He desires is simple, yet profound, a yielded heart. A heart that says, even if I don't understand, I will still obey. Even if I cannot see the outcome, I will still step forward. Even if fear whispers in the night, I will still choose faith in the morning. This is the kind of surrender that unlocks heaven's movement on earth. Not striving, not controlling, not forcing, but trusting. Perhaps you have spent years trying to hold everything together on your own, managing the weight of worry, carrying burdens not meant for your shoulders, replaying past regrets, and overthinking every possible outcome. And yet, in spite of your effort, peace still eluded you. That is because peace cannot be grasped by human effort, it can only be received in surrender. The miracle waiting for you is not unlocked by striving harder, but by letting go. God is calling you to lay down the illusions of control, to stop fighting battles that were never yours to fight, to hand back the burdens that were crushing your spirit. He is calling you to release the fear of what might happen, the shame of what already happened, and the pressure of trying to make everything happen on your own. In its place, he offers rest. He offers strength. He offers himself. This is not weakness, it is wisdom. Surrender is not defeat, it is alignment. To let go is not to lose, but to make room for what is greater. To release your grip is to allow his hand to hold you. And in that place of trust, miracles flow. In that place of faith, peace takes root. In that place of obedience, promises are fulfilled. You are being invited to a deeper walk, not a walk of constant striving, but of abiding. Not a walk of constant anxiety, but of steady trust. Not a walk of fear, but of faith. The steps may feel small at first, but each one carries you further into the fullness of his plan. And as you walk, you will find that the ground beneath you is steady, not because it is free of storms, but because his hand upholds you. The call is simple, yet weighty. Let go and trust him. Believe that the God who began a good work in you will be faithful to complete it. Believe that his plans are not to harm you, but to prosper you and give you a future filled with hope. Believe that even now, as you surrender, heaven is moving in your favor. The miracle is not waiting for you to be flawless, it is waiting for you to be willing to trust, willing to obey, willing to surrender. And in that willingness, you will find that what you thought was lost forever is already being restored, and what you thought was impossible is already unfolding. The waiting has not been wasted. The tears you thought no one saw, the prayers you feared went unheard, the nights you endured in silence, all of it has been gathered into the hands of God. And now, the season of sowing in sorrow gives way to the season of reaping in joy. This is not the end of your story. It is the unveiling of a chapter written long ago, one that testifies of his faithfulness and declares his promises fulfilled. You are stepping into a harvest that is greater than what you imagined. The seeds of endurance, the seeds of faith, the seeds of quiet obedience are now breaking the soil and producing fruit. Where you once felt empty, you will overflow. Where you once saw only loss, you will see restoration multiplied. Where you once carried shame, you will now stand in honor. The time of wandering has ended. The time of flourishing has begun. This moment is not fragile, it is sealed by his word. Every blessing he has spoken over you is irrevocable. Every promise he has declared is unshakable. Nothing in your past can cancel it. No voice of opposition can silence it. No force of darkness can reverse it. The harvest season has arrived because the Lord of the harvest himself has spoken. C.S. Lewis once wrote in Mere Christianity, "Relying on God has to begin all over again every day, as if nothing had yet been done." These words remind us that the miracle is not a one-time event but a daily walk of trust. Your harvest is not only a blessing to receive, but a life to live. A continual surrender, a continual reliance, a continual renewal in his presence. Now you are called not just to witness the goodness of God, but to embody it, to carry it, and to share it. Your testimony will not remain silent. It will be a light to others who are still waiting, still searching, still hoping. The very places where you once questioned God will become the places where you proclaim his faithfulness. The very scars that once shamed you will shine as proof of his healing power. This is the confirmation. You were never forgotten, never abandoned, never disqualified. You are chosen, you are loved, and you are stepping into the fullness of what has always been prepared for you. The season of harvest is here, and heaven rejoices as you rise into it. If this message has touched your heart and confirmed what you already felt stirring in your spirit, don't keep it to yourself. Let this word continue its journey like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and leave a comment below about the season you believe God is bringing you into. Your voice may be the encouragement another heart has been waiting for.